The UNCRC is the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The UNCRC has 54 articles that covers things like the right to education, freedom from discrimination, as well as the right to have your voice heard and taken seriously in all things that impact you. The UNCRC is all about making sure that children and young people not just survive, but also thrive. It's the responsibility of governments and decision makers to uphold these rights and make them a reality. Incorporation is really important because it takes these rights that currently sit at the UN level, at an international level, and it's all about bringing them directly into your domestic, your local country's law.
The campaign to incorporate the UNCRC had been ongoing for decades, and the Scottish Youth Parliament decided to join that campaign in 2017 after young people told us it was one of the most important issues to them. So we campaigned for years, and in the 2020-21 programme for government, the First Minister at the time, Dudgeon, committed to full incorporation of the UNCRC. So a couple of legal challenges later, and 7 years later, we're finally here, and the UNCRC is being fully incorporated into Scots law.
The campaign to incorporate the UNCRC into Scots law is just one great example of the change that young people can make when they're empowered. And we know that when young people are empowered with their rights, that they will use them. Now that we are moving into the next phase of our campaign, it's so important that we embed that rights-based approach into our culture, because it's so clear that when young people are involved in the discussions around their futures and issues that affect them, that positive change can be made.
Children and young people's rights being at the heart of decision making means that we have better policies that work for young people. Children and young people have innovative and exciting solutions to the problems that we face because we have a greater understanding of how the world around us affects our lives. UNCRC Incorporation gives us the opportunity to enhance and explore ways that we can better make Scotland the best place for children and young people to grow up.
Even though the journey to incorporation has been a long one, today isn't the end of that. The next step is to embed a children's rights respecting culture into our society, embracing all articles of the UNCRC. It's important that this happens all across Scotland, in our schools, providing rights education, in our workplaces, in our services and healthcare, all the way up to our decision makers in Parliament and government. Culture change is crucial in making sure that the UNCRC is implemented to its fullest extent.
When implementing the Act, it is crucial that we have support for understanding the UNCRC and what incorporation means for both children and young people and adults. Children and young people need accessible and inclusive communication, ideally designed by children and young people themselves. It is important that we continue to embed the UNCRC into the curriculum, and we've already made amazing progress on this with the Rights Respecting Schools programme. This goes hand in hand with citizenship education, which will prepare children and young people to be active participants in democracy. Children and young people who are aware of their rights will be adults who grow up to continue to champion these. Adults right now need to be educated on this too, not just those typically assumed to be working on the UNCRC, but across the board.